What's going on, you guys? My name is Matt, and this is a fun show where I get to show off some of the coolest error cards that got sold this week. We have 6 cards that sold for over $1,000. We have some crazy miscuts and a few absolutely insane Umbreons that sold. Now let's get right into this week's episode. Kicking things off, we have a Shadowless Vulpix. This is a base set card, and we have a blue butt error on this Vulpix, an additional ink error that is actually a repeating error. So there's several cards like this that has this additional ink on Vulpix. A very fun one that I would hope to have the fortune of owning at one point, and yeah, this card sold for quite a bit. You can see it sold for $66.25. Average non-error price is $3.49. That gives us a 1,798% error value increase. Not in the top 10. We got a pretty good week this week, I would say. I was pleasantly surprised to see all the fun cards pop up. But yeah, this is not even close to the top 10, actually. Next up, we have an Umbreon V from Evolving Skies, and this is an inverted back error. So it would be inverted back misalignment? I don't know, because misaligned would be when the back is not the same as the front, and either way, we have a pretty darn expensive card already, but to throw an inverted back on it makes it sell for a lot. 1,100 Great British Pounds, which is $1,430. Holy cow, let's take a look here. Yes, look at that. So inverted and misaligned back. You can see we have an alignment dot in the bottom right corner here on the back. The inverted back error label from CGC, a CGC 9, mind you. And average non-error price for this bad boy is $245. So EVI of around 500%. But in cases like this, I like to say it added around $1,200 of value to this card. That's pretty special. So that's one of the Umbreons this week. Ooh, $1,400. This is actually the cheapest Umbreon that was sold too. Okay, now we have a modern classic here. Here we have a Magikarp from Pokemon 151 Scarlet and Violet, and this is the Ink Splash iCarp error. A neat repeating error where a large printer hickey covers up the first part of Magikarp here. Sells for quite a bit. Repeating error, probably already said that. Listed for 100, sold for 60. Now this bad boy in non-error form sells for $1.24. So that gives a 4,739% error value increase, which is good enough for number 7 this week. Also, you see I put Spanish? Right here you can see that for some reason price charting had everything in Spanish. Not sure why that was. Checked, I had no VPN on or anything. There's no reason it should be in Spanish, but it was. Another error, I guess. How fun. Alright, next up I'm going to throw a couple double holo variants at you. We have a PSA 9 Ho-Oh from Neo Revelation with that double holo variant. Sold for $790. Now, best way to tell with Ho-Oh, if it's a double holo, look at the tail feathers. They're kind of swallowed up by the holo there. And also the eye will be darker too, which is kind of a neat feature. And also you'll just see some holo poking around Ho-Oh here as well. Now EVI is not crazy, 200%, but $500 of value added to this card because it's a double holo variant. And next up we have a Shining Magikarp, again from Neo Revelation, again a double holo variant. And this one, pretty easy to tell as well. You just got a bunch of holo on the other Magikarps here. You can see just an abundance of holo, really. And this card raw sold for $415. EVI of 115%. Next up we have my boy Scooby-Doo selling this card. We have a crimped Rugia, and this sold for $85.33, which I thought sounded low, but then you take a look at the condition of the card and it kind of makes sense. You can see we got some a little fold right here, just a couple folds around the card, a little bit of whitening, a couple scratches, but this is what we care about right here, the crimp. So it's cool to see crimps on Japanese cards, it's cool to see crimps on vintage cards, and it's cool to see crimps on vintage Japanese chase cards, which is what this is. And so all that put together, I thought it was a neat card. Obviously, again, didn't sell for a crazy amount. EVI just a little bit higher than average non-error price, but a neat card nonetheless, and I wanted to share it. And next up we have another double hollow variant, but this is a first edition. So this is a first edition Shining Magikarp PSA 8 example with that PSA error label, which is always cool to see. Sold in auction for $2,225. Ooh, that's a big dog. And again, same rules apply for the double hollow for this, for the first edition. You can see average non-air price for this bad boy is $650 for a grade 8. And so EVI, again, nothing crazy, but that's like $1,600 of value added to this card, which is absolutely insane. And next up we have a Bulldor from Evolving Skies, and this is a twisted miscut. Let's say 45-degree twisted miscut. And this is a fun one, so let's take a look. So what's cool about this, it kind of shows behind the scenes of how the cutting process actually happens. So irregardless of how the uncut sheet is actually oriented on the table when it's getting cut, or whatever surface it's on, you can see it don't care. You can see just everything else here is really messed up. We got some 45-degree angles, but then we got that perfect rounded corner still, which is fun to see. It really is. And the back actually shows that this is actually an edge of sheet miscut too. So not only is this messed up where it's just 45 degrees, it's actually edge of sheet. So that shows how rare this card actually is and why it sold for nearly $100 for a Bulldor. I mean, no one really wants Bulldor unless it's this miscut, in my opinion. And we couldn't find pricing for anything lower than a grade 8 for this non-error Bulldor. So I took a stab at it. I said $5. I saw some other cards selling for similar range. You know, if it's a card like this from Evolving Skies and it's not a chase card, it's not gonna be selling for a lot, even if it's a decent grade. But yeah, grade 5 is very low. So all that to say, I made up $5 for this, but I think it's pretty accurate. And the EVI of 1900% is not in the top 10. We got a strong week, as I said before, but yes, very cool twisted 45-degree one corner rounded edge of sheet miscut. They should put all of that on the card. That'd be better. If you were around last week, you saw we had a bunch of no damage Ninetales. Not a lot this week, actually only one, but this one is pretty incredible. So we have a Shadowless Ninetales PSA 8 example with that no damage error, meaning the 80 is missing here. You see right here it's there, here it's missing. One of the more valuable repeating errors. And this PSA 8 was listed for $2,500, sold for $2,200, which is phenomenal. That's a lot of money, holy cow. And let's take a look at the grade 8 pricing for the error version. It's not there. Everything else is there. You can see that's kind of the precipice where grade 7, it's like still kind of normal at $750, and then grade 9 goes up to $7,000, and so you can see grade 8 is kind of fitting right in between there for $2,200. I say it's a pretty reasonable step up. An average non-error price for this Shadowless Ninetales non-error is $134, so 1500% EVI and over $2,000 of value added to this card. Not bad at all. Next up we have a Charmander from Obsidian Flames, and this is a water obstruction error. A very cool error where water kind of obstructs the printing process and leaves a definitely water-like look on the card. You can see him covering Charmander's most of his head and a good portion of the upper right part of the card. A very neat error, and one you can tell that's from the factory because the back is not impacted at all. Sometimes you'll see something, if it got spilled after the fact, like outside of the factory, it'll impact the back of the card too, but you can see here, clean as a whistle. And it was sold, and this card sold for $69 nice $80. Average non-error price for this bad boy is $1. They're doing my boy Charmander poorly by selling for this little, but I get it. It's not a chase card by any means, and it's modern. So that gives us a 6,880% error value increase, which is actually good enough for number 2 this week. And it maybe should have been number 1, but we'll get to that later. Next up, we have a Water Energy from Scarlet and Violet, and this is it's like a hinged miscut. So if you think of the top portion here as like the rotation point, like you stick a pin in it and then you rotate it a little bit. That's kind of what happened here. You can see definitely more of another card showing on the bottom than on the top, and same here, thinner and it gets to thicker. A very cool miscut that shows an alignment dot on the front here, and what's that back looking like? Is that no miscut, or oh, okay, an alignment dot on the top right of the card here. So this is again a miscut, not a misalignment error. And this sold for $20 this week. I was kind of surprised that average non-error price is $2 for this. I don't know who's paying $2 for it, but either way, yeah, a neat miscut and one I thought was worth sharing. Okay, this is a fun one. Here we have a Lugia, a regular Lugia, not a Rugia, from Neo Genesis, and this is a Hollow Bleed. Now, you're going to get my live reaction to this Hollow Bleed because there is a video here, and I refrained from looking at it the whole time. So this looks like a clean card before we take a look at the video. A little bit of whitening here and there, but this is an expensive card in general. Listed for $500, sold for $500. Now let's take a look at this Hollow Bleed. So definitely shining through there. You can see it. Hollow Bleeds definitely add quite a bit of value to a card, especially big chase cards like this. And you can see enough. You can even see a little bit of a swirl right here. So definitely shining through quite a bit. I think if the lights were turned off and this was a flash, it would really be shining. But when Hollow shines through like this in the daytime, you know, just in regular lighting, it shows how severe it actually is. So yeah, not a crazy high EVI, but $300 of value to this card, and I just love Hollow Bleeds. It might be one of my favorite errors, and so if I can show it on a vintage card, a vintage chase card, you best believe I'm gonna do it. Next up, we have a Kingdra from Neo Genesis, and this isn't the ink error, this is the, play the music, a fat bottom miscut. With an alignment dot, let's take a look. Ooh, it clicked in too. That's like a... weird to say, that's a good looking alignment dot. Yes, it's actually slightly twisted here too. Can you see right here? A little bit thicker than right here. So it definitely got messed up a little bit, and it's consistent on the back too. We can see a little bit more whitening, a little bit more love on the back of the card, but still a fat bottom miscut nonetheless. Listed for $50, sold for $40, and you know how I feel about them. I love them. Next up, we have a first edition Ivy Pikachu, graded a PSA 7, and this one always sells for a lot. So if you don't know, this first edition stamp should not be there, and yeah, it's always staggering how much these sell for. So PSA 7 sold for $600. Now we actually have error pricing for this. We can see grade 7 usually goes for around $512. So this is a little bit higher than average, but these numbers here could be a little bit dated. Either way, it's always fun to see these cards trend upward. And average non-error price for this, just for the standard Ivy Pikachu promo card, would be around $16 for a grade 7. That gives us a 3,678% EVI, which is good enough for number 8 this week. Next up, we have a severe miscut. We have a Feeble Phoebus with a couple round corners, a couple straight corners, and a couple alignment dots. This was listed for $100, sold for $55, and let's take a look. Ooh, we can click in. Right here, alignment dot, square corner, shouldn't be like that. Alignment dot, square corner, shouldn't be like that. Rounded corner, portion of the card cut off. You see water energy. The water symbol here is cut off. And we got the sick Phoebus. Nice. Take a look at the back. Edge of sheet miscut too. So the white shows that this is on the outside, the border of the uncut sheet before it was cut. And we have the alignment dot here. And overall, just a really neat card. And I see why it sold for so much. $55 for a Phoebus is unheard of, especially for a modern card. Average non-error price for this bad boy is 89 cents. So that gives us 6,080% for the EVI, which is good enough for number 3 this week. Next up, we have Rookie Bob, who seems to be selling Hollow Bleeds just about every day here. This is a Jolteon from Jungle Set with a gorgeous Hollow Bleed. Can we click in? We can, all right. So this was listed for $200, sold for $120, and you can see that showing pretty good. Now, is that just a camera, or is that going over the border there? Whoop, over the art box. I don't know. Yeah, a neat card. You know I love my Hollow Blades. And added around $90 of value to this card. Okay, next up we have a Ms. Drevis from Neo Revelation. This is a double hollow variant, and the reason I like showing it is just because the way to tell this is a double hollow is my absolute favorite. You see the eyes. So much darker, and with the right lighting you can see hollow going through the eyes there, which I think is just spectacular. You know, night and day difference between error and non-error. And yeah, not a crazy one. $110 this sold for, and an EVI of 340%. But $85 of value added to this card, and again, probably my favorite double hollow just because of the way you can tell that is double hollow. So for the second time this week, some water energies are getting some love for some reason. They're severely unloved, so I guess this is nice to see. This water energy from 2013, which is unmarked, I found, has an inverted and miscut back, or inverted and misaligned back. You can see here, standard Pokemon card on the back, inverted with a really cool border pattern here, you know, missing here, alignment dot right here, and overall just a very unique card. These inverted backs happen all throughout Pokemon history. From the very first Wizards of the Coast cards that were printed all the way to today, it's happened. People make mistakes, machines make mistakes, whatever happens to make this happen, it happens. And this one sold for $50. Now, average non-error price, I couldn't find. There's no pricing information for this, so I said 99 cents. I think that's fair. And so that gives us an EVI of 4,951%. Which is good enough for number 6 this week. Next up, we have a Black Star promo Pikachu with that fat bottom. Start the music. Now, this one's fun. If I can click in, I can. We have alignment dot on the bottom left, alignment dot on the bottom right. It's like the alignment dot was perfectly cut too. So this is one of my favorite orientations for a miscut, is when it's just kind of shifted up or down, but you still see the alignment dots too. So fat bottom, and again, it's called a miscut because of the back is the same as the front. And we see those alignment dots here too. Oh, so cool. So 4 alignment dots showing. And it sold for $130 this week, and EVI of around 600%. Next up we have a Shaman, and this is a Master Ball card. So already expensive, sort of expensive. Sells for around $9, which isn't bad for a modern card. But this one is a texture shift. Looks like we only have one photo here, but that shows enough. So this one shows quite a bit of information actually. So the Master Ball should be right in the center. You can see reflect energy. The texture around it is shifted. You see the 70 here is actually shifted up and to the left as well. The border here. And then this texture must be from a different card too, the card on the right of this. So a very, just overall, a very unique error, one that's kind of cool to see in some of these new textured cards. And yeah, always fun to see when the new sets release what errors kind of come about them, because each one seems to have their own flavor of errors, and this one is no exception. And we have a pretty big difference between the error price and the average non-error price, which gives us a top 10 EVI. 3,329% for this Shaman, which is good enough for number 10 this week. Next up, we have a Magikarp from Scarlet and Violet 151, and this is another inverted and miscut back. You see this photo is a little bit overexposed, but that's alright. The back, inverted and miscut in a different way, which is fun. So, you see just perfectly flipped over, where we basically have just about perfect centering for the top and bottom, maybe a little bit shifted, which is why this alignment dot shows here, and actually another alignment dot right there. But we have another portion of a card here on the left. So a very cool rendition of an inverted back. And this sold for quite a bit, $52.24 once you do that conversion from Canadian to USD. And no surprise here, average non-error price for this poor Magikarp is 99 cents. So we have a 5,177% error value increase. which is good enough for number 5 this week. Number 5. Next up, we have not a home run hitter, but just one I want to talk about, and it's my show, so I'll do what I want. We have a base set Gyarados with an additional ink error. Additional white ink. Now, I wouldn't call this a repeating error, but there's quite a few cards that this is prevalent on where you'll get additional white ink on the left side of the hollow box. I'm not sure why this occurs, but it's cool to see when it does happen, and I kind of just store it away in my memory bank for when I'm searching through Pokemon cards on eBay to see if I can find a error when it's not listed as an error. Always look on the left side of the hollow box, so it's good to know. Was listed for $50, sold for $40. Let's take a look at the condition. Probably would have sold for more if it wasn't so beat up. That's alright though, it's a cool card and added around $30 of value. Next up, we have a Battle Reporter trainer card from Furious Fists. And this is a texture shift. Now, not nearly as large of a texture shift as the other card we saw, but you can see it's like almost cooler that the fact that it's not as much, because you can really compare where it should be to where it is. See the goatee here, the beard and the mustache shifted over a little bit, the hair's shifted, everything's shifted, and makes it a unique card that sold for $85 this week. And the average non-error price for this bad boy is $9. So this one was the talk of the hypothetical town this week. Here we have an Umbreon Master Ball. This is from Prismatic Evolutions, and this is a texture shift. So you have a average non-error price of around $200 for this card already. But then you shift the texture over a decent amount, and you get $1,900 in auction. See, Master Ball's shifted over, Feint Attack is shifted over. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. We have the eye right here, the ears, all shifted over. Incredible. $1,900 for a raw Pokemon card. That's fun to see. That's why I like doing this show, is because you never know what's going to happen. And it's fun to think, too, this card, raw, sold more than the BGS Black Label. $1,500 that goes for. This already went for $1,900. Oh, look at the HP too. I'm just noticing that right now. And the symbol there. The more you look at this card, the cooler it gets. So congrats to whoever won this. Hope you get it graded and post it in another group so we can take a look. And I will be sure to update the viewers here on what happens. So there's 2 out of the 3 Umbreons that sold, $1,900. But this next one sold for even more, or should sell for more. Next up, we have a Mewtwo V from Pokemon Go, and this is a twisted miscut. According to CGC, I agree with them. You can see definitely inconsistent on the border here. It's kind of the card, or the border was kind of the same, but then within it, the actual content of it got shifted. And it's a miscut because the back is the same as the front. Would that be an alignment dot or something else? It's got graded CGC 9. You wouldn't think that would be something else. But yeah, this sold for $150 this week and had an EVI of 736%. Next up, we have a sealed Ancient Mew promo card, and this is a miscut. Now, it's cool to see these because you don't find them sealed too often, and pricing might be a little bit skewed here, but I thought there's not really a good way to compare it. So, sealed Ancient Mews, I don't know how much they sell for, but I know just average non-error price, if it's out of the package, goes for around $45. And so, again, not a fair comparison, but I just thought it was a neat card. I wanted to take a look at it. So you can see with these, they actually have alignment pluses. And so that's what's prevalent here on the back of the card on the upper left. And yeah, nothing on the right. And we can see another Ancient Mew starting on the top there. And this portion is cut off. And if this ever does get taken out of the package, which I don't know if it would sell for as much. I've seen Ancient Mews actually not sell for as much as I thought when they were miscut, so it might be worth more just to keep it sealed like this. But yeah, we would definitely see a miscut on the front as well for this if you took it out, or if you slid that top card up. Either way, cool card. On to the next one. Next up, we have a card from Chilling Reign. This is the Scroll of Piercing, and this is a I'd say a wonky miscut, a twisted miscut. Let's take a look. Several alignment dots on the front here, and then different angle here. More of a different card shown on the bottom than on the top. Take a look at the back, and we have the same alignment dots here. It's kind of fun to see the side by side here to see how that kind of stacks up. and same orientation. So a really unique miscut card. And I see I got the pricing wrong for it. What did this actually sell for? Yeah, so this card sold for $80. I see I put 127 here. Either way, not gonna be in the top 10, but also average non-error price. We don't know. I'm not sure if this card's ever been graded before. Price charting could not find anything. I searched eBay for sold listings of this card graded just to see if I can get anything to kind of get a general idea for pricing. I didn't see anything, so I said $6. You know, I looked at some of the other trainer cards from this set, and I think $6 for a grade 9 is pretty fair, because again, it's not really that crazy of a card. But this miscut card is crazy, and so EVI of 2000%, not in the top 10, but this miscut card is really cool. Not much more to say about it, but yeah, let's go on to the next one. So next up we have an Altaria, and this is a very unique card that I had seen once before, and it turned out this is actually the same exact card. So you can see here, additional ink error on the back that kind of bleeds through the right side of the back of the card. Very cool. So you can actually see a little bit of the N here, so it's not completely covering it up, but yeah, again, one I'd never seen before. It was posted in the Discord group I'm in, and then I was like, wait, this looks similar, and I reached out to the person who it was, and like they said, yes, this is the exact same card. So cool to see, and sold for, that's right, $60.22. I put I love you here. I have a running thing going here where if you watch these episodes and you purchased error cards on eBay, end the bid with 22, and it would let me know that a viewer purchased this. If that's you who did this, comment, and I will give you an error card for free. I'll send it to you. I'll even let you pick between a couple of them. So thank you for whoever purchased this card. Congrats. A really neat one. It's fun to think that it's went from one person in the community to another person in the community, but it went through eBay. And average non-error price for this bad boy, 99 cents. So we have a 5,983% error value increase, which is good enough for number 4 this week. So again, thank you to whoever purchased this, ended it in 22, and leave a comment. Thank you. I forget if I mentioned it or not this week, but I mentioned there might be heartache. Maybe if I didn't, either way. This is sad what happened. So we have a green back Top Sun Cubone. So Top Sun cards where I believe they even were printed before base set cards. Some of the OGs, and some of them had green backs, some of them had blue backs. I think just, I don't know what the difference was between them, but now whoever sold this, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt thinking that this was a legit miscut. So what happened was there's a portion of the back of the card that is actually blue instead of green, and so it looks like it could be miscut. Now this would be assuming that green backs and blue backs are printed on the same sheet, which is not the case. So there's no way it could be miscut like that. And it turns out this is actually just sun faded. So this portion of the card was left out in the sun, and it changed the color from green to blue, sort of fading it. And then this card that was listed for $4,000 sold for $2,000 to someone. So I regret to inform everyone here, but maybe the person who purchased this is not a legit error, and you should see if you can get your money back. Authenticity guarantee. Now that's interesting. We'll see if it really is verified, because if I guess PSA didn't claim that it was a miscut or anything, but they might be able to get their money back. Now, the unfortunate part is that, yeah, this is so crazy. My light just fell, and we'll leave it. So yeah, the unfortunate part for this is that someone paid $2,000 for a card that should really be $16. So if this was a legit error, this would be really fun, because that's like, holy cow, the EVI is 12,400%. But I guess that's still the case, but this is kind of more like a misunderstanding, but it's still number 1. So I'm honoring it because technically this sold for way more than the average non-error price, but yeah, we're kind of uncharted waters here. So you see, yeah, grade 6 goes for $16 for a greenback Cubone. So I regret to snap my fingers at this being number 1, but 12,400% error value increase is good enough for number 1 this week. So thoughts and prayers up for whatever happens here. Hopefully this is authenticated and someone lets them know, hey, this isn't the miscut. But I don't know if they will authenticate that. They might just authenticate that it's an actual Pokemon card, which it is. So mixed feelings about this, but either way, $2,000 for this is Crazy. So it's fun to report on. And here's what I've been teasing about. So here's the other Umbreon that hasn't sold yet, but I talked to the person who posted this photo, and they gave me a little bit of a backstory on it. So this is an Umbreon, not a Master Ball, but just a regular Pokeball texture, and you can see half of the texture is actually missing. Now this is something I've never seen before. I don't know how this happens. Was it an obstruction that kind of removed the texture? But whatever it is, this card is very expensive. So it turns out the person who posted this actually posted it on behalf of their brother and sister-in-law, and because they were the ones that own the card. They're like, yeah, sure, you can post it, see if you can field offers or something. And right now the highest bidder is at $5,000. So if that deal closes, it could sell for $5,000, and they said if that doesn't sell, they're going to put it on eBay. So who knows how much it can go for, but that price really just does speak to how rare of an error this is. So yeah, an error I've never seen before. Really incredible. $5,000. I'll put on the screen here what the EVI would be if it sold for that. And let's call this number 1 this week. How's that sound? That seems more fitting than a misunderstanding purchase. $5,000 for this. Absolutely incredible. Holy cow. So let's take this Umbreon and a couple of the other ones, toss it in the thumbnail, and I think we're good for this week. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you later. Goodbye.